Excellent. Thank you, Jason. Okay, we'll turn it over to Ms. Dorsch, Chair of the Finance Committee, to kick it off.
Thanks all. Thanks for coming this morning. Welcome to this meeting of the VPRA Finance Committee. First order of business is roll call attendance. I turn it over to the board assistant.
Ms. Dorsch?
Here.
Thank you. Ms. Bulova? I believe she's not here yet. Mr. DeLandro? Mr. DeLandro, can you hear me? What? And Mr. Watkins?
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum, Ms. DeBrule.
Very good. And now I'm going to request a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from our January 12th meeting. Someone, please.
I so move.
Thank you. Don, can I have a second for our meeting minutes from January 12th?
I'm sorry, Ms. Dorsch. One of the other board members called me at that particular moment. Can you tell me who made the motion to accept the meeting minutes?
Mr. Watkins made that motion.
Thank you. And who seconded it?
John, if you could nod yes to seconding this, that would be great. Can a non-finance committee member second this if we're waiting on Ms. Bolivar and others?
She is. I'll second it.
Thank you.
Board's powerful.
Ask the board assistant to take a roll call vote on this.
Ms. Dorsch?
Aye.
Mr. DeLandro? Mr. Watkins?
Aye.
And Mrs. Bulova, good morning. We are voting on accepting the minutes from the previous Finance Committee meeting.
You can get me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm not hearing anything.
Who's that? John DeLandro. We can hear him now.
Can we move on to perhaps have our auditors introduce themselves while someone could perhaps assist Mr. DeLandro if it's a problem on our end, but it may be on his.
Want to introduce the auditor?
I was going to introduce them. Are we good?
Yep, go.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Bonnie, for those of you who can't see me in this weird looking room. So as you may recall, we engaged in an RFP with our auditor of public accounts a few months ago, and we selected PB Mayers as our new auditor for the next couple of years. So just in the short time that we've been working with them, we are incredibly pleased with the level of service that's been provided thus far. They are super responsive to our questions. They held a municipal government training just this week that Steve and I attended and gained a significant amount of value from. And more importantly, they came on site to do some preliminary work for our audit for the FY24 audit. So we are, needless to say, we are very happy with the work that's been provided. We are feeling really on task for what come in the summer for our audit and for our financial statements. And it's really important for the committee to have an open line of communication with the auditors, which is why we have Mr. Dwight Buracker on the line right now, who is our lead partner in the engagement. So he's just going to introduce himself and tell you a little bit about PB Mayers and also give you a brief update on the work that they've completed to date. So Dwight, take it away, sir.
Appreciate it, Bonnie. As she said, I'm Dwight Buracker and the lead partner on the engagement for the audit this year. Been with PB Mayers for 22 years now, primarily focused in government accounting audits, primarily in the transit industry, along with authorities and commissions throughout the state of Virginia. See a few familiar faces on this call from other clients that we work with. As Bonnie said, we were on site in April. Kudos to their staff for being fully prepared for the audit engagement. Made our work a little bit easier on us. Coming out of preliminary field work, We did not have any findings related to internal controls and things of that nature. That's our primary focus when we're there for preliminary field work. We looked at controls around payroll, procurement, revenue recognition, things of that nature, and had no have nothing to report at this time. And then we also, with the implementation of the new accounting system, we brought in our IT experts to come in and do a deep dive into that system. There are some items that we are still working through with staff at VPRA on some findings and things of that nature that came up. Some of the items that we did discover have already been addressed and remedied. So kudos to staff there in taking the necessary actions to go ahead and to take care of those items. That report we're hoping to issue probably within the next couple of weeks, as we're still working through the draft of the findings and making sure we all agree to the facts so we can have the correct conclusion in our final report that we issue. We are scheduled to come back on site in August to perform final field work. At that time is when we look at the year-end numbers and actually audit the financial information included in the financial statements. We were made aware recently we will have a single audit this year for federal compliance. The authority is going to exceed the amount required for a single audit of $750,000 in federal expenditures this year. So we will also be reporting on the compliance aspect and controls around the federal funding that will be spent in FY23. So that's all I have for the group. I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Any of the board members have any questions?
Just good job and welcome aboard. We're already enjoying working with you, so thank you.
I echo those sentiments. It's been a breath of fresh air.
I'll third that. Excellent. All right. Thank you, Dwight. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Okay, and I'm going to ask for a motion and a second to go into closed session.
All right, I am glad to make that motion. I move that the board convene in a closed session, Roman numeral 1, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A29 for the discussion of the award of one or more public contracts involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers and discussion of the terms or scopes of such contract, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of VPRA. And 2, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A3 for the discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for the public purpose, for a public purpose, or the disposition of publicly held real property, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. So moved. And we need a second.
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Can we then, who was the second on this for the board assistance records?
John DeLandro.
Okay, thank you. And then board assistant will take a roll call vote on this motion, please.
Ms. Dorsch,
Aye.
Ms. Bulova,
Aye.
Mr. DeLandro,
Aye.
Mr. Spoor,
Mr. Spoor, can you hear that? Mr. Spoor, can you hear that?
I sure can, and I said aye, but you can't.
We can hear you now. It's my mistake.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Watkins,
Aye.
thank you.
Okay, so unanimous vote. So I announce that we're moving into closed session.
Thank you, Jason.